Hello and welcome to TotoTCG. You are here with me, Matthew, and we are back here with another Pokemon video. So of course we have got our last GX from Champion Road. And it's a pretty cool one. It is pretty cool indeed. This one actually had an EX. I remember actually purchasing it. We opened it on the channel as well. It was an older EX. Let's just leave it at that. An older EX. It was a Gen 3 Pokemon. And it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool indeed. Which one are we talking about? Well, of course, we are talking about Salamence GX. Very, very cool looking card here. Now, the artwork from this card has been taken from one of the EX era card sets, and then it's obviously been reprinted into a GX format, which looks insane. Looks as if it's either standing on or flying away from like lava coals in the background. Really, really cool looking. So, of course, Salamence GX being the topic for discussion today. It is a dragon Pokemon, and it also has a HP of 250. It is a Stage 2 Pokemon, which I believe is the only GX in this set so far for Champion Road, not for Celestial Storm, but for Champion Road, to have a Stage 2 GX. Not to say it's bad at all, because it is pretty cool. It is definitely very, very interesting indeed. The fact that it has a nice amount of HP there is pretty good. The weakness is... See, if Gardevoir was still strong, which I'm not saying it's not, but I don't really see a lot of people playing it, then I'd be worried. But not really. This thing's pretty tanky. It could take a hit, and it can at least deal them back out very, very nicely as well. So without further ado, let's have a little look at some of these abilities and attacks. Another Pokemon here with another ability. Really, really cool indeed. Okay, so let's have a little look at the Full Art and Rainbow Rare for this card, just before we move on to the abilities. So the Full Art card looks just like that. Very, very interesting indeed. Sort of up on its 2 feet. You can see the wings spread out there. A very, very nice dynamic pose there. Really, really cool. And the Rainbow Rare, of course, is the exact same picture, but it's looking amazing as well. Very, very cool indeed. And of course, these pictures do not give them the overall satisfaction of being able to hold them in hand and see all the sparkly effects and everything. It is really, really cool to get these in hand and have a good old look at them. So there we go. There are all the cards there. Let's have a little look now at the abilities and the attacks. Okay, so the first ability is called Dragon Lift. So let's have a little look what it does. The retreat cost of each of your Pokemon, excluding Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX, is 0. So that's pretty cool. Excludes Pokemon EX and GX. That's a little bit annoying because obviously it can't help itself out. But it can help any others. It can help out your Shelgon or Bagon, which haven't been evolved yet, which is pretty cool. And you could then bring this up. The fact that you may only need 1 or 2 of these present in the game, or at least up front, you only need 1 to get this ability going. It's not as if you need multiple of them. But to be able to reduce the retreat cost down to 0 is incredibly amazing, because you can just literally say, yep, well there you go, there's the ability, retreat, bang, sorted. And it doesn't even have to be a dragon type, which is even better. With a name like Dragon Lift, you think, oh, maybe it's only just for dragon types. No, it is for every single type except EX and GX. Very cool ability, I have to say. I do like it. Very cool. Moving on from that, we have another attack here called Bright Flame for a fire, water, and double colourless. And this attack does 200 damage, and you discard 2 energies from this Pokemon. So there's a few cards, or there's one card in particular which we'll be discussing when we get to the What Works section, which I think could help this quite nicely. And there's also a few cards which will work nice with this, at least I believe so. So yeah, I mean, 200 damage is pretty cool. With a choice band as well, that's going to be even cooler. You're hitting most stuff for knockout. You're hitting Greninja as well, that's 230. You might not be hitting Gyarados, but not a lot of people really run Gyarados. There is actually a card which we will discuss, which actually will bump it up to kill Gyarados, so if anyone does play Gyarados, this thing can take it out. Discarding 2 energies is a little bit meh, but there are quite a few ways which are coming up, which aren't in Celestial Storm but might be in the next set, which will help with this. So that's going to be even better. So that's really, really good to see. Moving on, let's crack on with the GX, which is called Flame Jet GX. It is for a fire and 2 colorless. So it does 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. So it's doing 120 damage. That's not a lot for a GX, I'll be brutally honest. Okay, yes, it is enough to knock out a Tapu Koko. With a Choice Band, it can do 150. So, I mean, that's okay, but it's just a one-off thing. I don't. See, I'd be focusing more on the other attack to do that full-on 200, especially with, you know, fire, water, and 2 color, double colorless. This one's pretty cool. I mean, especially if you are going to just target a bench Pokemon, maybe it's already been weakened by something, and you think, yeah, I just want to get a quick KO on that. Bang! Happy days. I do not blame you. That's really cool. But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how I feel about this GX. I don't think it's the best GX we've ever seen. I don't think it's game breaking. It's decent. It does damage, which is always good. But I don't think it's the best attack here. I think that 200, as well, as much as it is for 4 energies, think about it, that could only just be a 3 energy add-on. So it's a pretty quick way of powering up, and even though this one is pretty quick with 2 energies being powered up and being able to do 120, it's interesting. It is definitely interesting. So let's have a little look at some other little bits and bobs. Of course, we already know that it is a GX, and if it does get knocked out, then you will get 2 prizes taken, or your opponent will take 2 prizes. It has a weakness to Fairy, no resistance, and it has a retreat of 2. Now, of course, that ability at the very top will not help itself at all. But with all that energy being attached on, especially with the double colorless being attached, you can just take that off, bang, sorted, happy days. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. I think the ability is going to be pretty cool if you're running a bit of a basic deck with no EXs or GXs except this one. Maybe just for that nice bit of a 200 hit. Who knows? The 200 damage itself is pretty cool, especially with a Choice Band on top. That's 230. And the GX itself is a little bit meh. But, I mean, let me know in the comments below, guys, what your thoughts are on Salamence GX. Okay, so let's have a little look at what works with Salamence GX. So, we've got a few different things here. Now, of course, we know it's a Dragon type, which means that Dragon types could go nice with it. There might even be some colourless types, which could go with this quite nicely. Especially with that double colourless as well. There's a few cards I've got here. I've put in Volcanion Prism. Now, the reason I put this in there is, number one, it's a water type. It only has 3 energy cost, and I mean, that's okay to sort of get going. The Jet Geyser is pretty interesting, and that also helps to fill up on the water on the attack, because obviously you can use your Jet Geyser, your opponent switches their Pokemon, you've got a water in the discard pile, hopefully you have an Aqua Patch in hand, bang, you attach that, you attach return, that's 2 straight away. That's pretty cool. One more the next turn, you can then start attacking with this thing. Now, the other thing I was thinking of is Sauna Blast does do 100. If you've got a Choice Band, it does 130 up front. It also does 20 to the bench. Now, in terms of that GX from Salamence, it can do 120 with a Choice Band. It could do 150. Get maybe 2 of these going on a Lele. That's 40 damage. Then that thing comes in, does 150. That's 190 instant knockout. Happy day. No, hold on. Lele is 170. I'm being a moose. Say a Buzzwole, for example, then. But Lele is another good example. Just 1 hit, then bring it in 150. There's a knockout. Bang. Happy days. Of course, you will have to have luck on your side to be able to have that many cards in a few turns. Having Aqua Patch and a few other things, which we will mention here, happen would be pretty cool. So moving on, we've also got Ho-Oh GX as well, a big fire type here. A bit risky because you'd be running a lot of fire. You'd have to run water with this guy. You have to run fire and water, which is why I've included fire and water. Ho-Oh, I think, does work when you utilise Kiawe. Now, Kiawe can be utilised for Ho-Oh if you really wanted to put Ho-Oh with this, but Kiawe could be used for this as well. You're attaching 4 fire energy. Now, almost every single attack needs fire. It does need water, that is fair enough, but you think you put 4 fire energies on there, you've got enough. Hopefully next turn you can then maybe get a water. If not, you had it in turn and you can play it. You can't attack, obviously, because when Kiawe happens, that's your turn ended. But using Kiawe gives you that amount of energy then, which when you've added the water, you'll then have 5 energies. You only need 4. You then discard 2. You have to attach another one, so you can keep doing that for maybe 2 turns. Because you've got that, you've got your 5 energies. You'll still have a water and fire. You only need a double colourless. Fair enough. You could run double colourless as well and keep that going. But a 200 damage Pokemon is pretty cool indeed, I have to say. And Kiawe could help. I think it could help. Throw TotoTCG in there as well, but just because you've got the double colourless, and it's not like super duper like powerful attacks. Well, I say that, but they're not like costly. The attacks aren't expensive. The GX is pretty cool as well. That would definitely help get your fire back. If you didn't want to use that GX, which I totally understand, you just keep him on your bench with 1 energy on, ready to do a Nitro Tank GX. You get those the 5 fire energies from the discard pile to your Pokemon anyway you like. You literally just place them back on that. Next turn, happy days, bing, bring him up. So yeah, that could be pretty cool. Could be pretty cool. I've also thrown in there Lapras. Pretty cool thing with Volcanion and Lapras at the moment. When Manaphy does rotate, though, I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't seen anything that's really going to help in terms of give everything free retreat, which is what Manaphy does. But having that Volcanion Prism in a Lapras deck is insane. Doing that 130 and then 20 on all the bench, you're sort of putting Lapras in the range to do all of the attacks that it needs to. 160 with a choice band is 190. You're knocking out a majority of things. Yes, of course, you can't use that the next turn, but if you've got one ready on your bench, happy days, you can do that and bring it in. Now, bearing in mind, if you had Volcanion in the Volcanion Prism in the active, you could then utilize the ability from Salamence to just bring that out for free. You can't do it with Lapras because it is a GX. That's the only thing. You can do it with the Volcanion Prism because it never says anything about a prism. It's basically a basic. It's a prism, but it's not a GX or EX, so that's ideal. That is definitely ideal. Another one to think of, I think this could be interesting, is Zoroark GX. Number one, because you'd have 2 different weaknesses, which is okay. They're pretty heavy weaknesses, especially if Gardevoir is like still there and around, and Buzzwole is pretty much always going to be there at the moment. You do have the resistance to Garbodor as well, which mostly counters the Buzzwole, which is pretty cool. But being able to do that double colourless Righteous Beating is pretty cool. The trade ability as well will actually help you in evolving up the Bagon to Shelgon. That's it, Shelgon to Salamence. So that will help do that. Obviously, if you are running rare candies, then you've got nothing to worry about. You've literally got nothing to worry about. But it does help you sort of mow through your deck and be like, I need this, I don't need that. I need this, I don't need that. I need this, I don't need that. So having maybe, I don't know, a 3-3, yeah, a 3-3 line of that maybe, or a 4-3 line, just so you've got enough going. You don't want to hog your bench up with all Zoroarks, but having about 3, you know, that you're getting rid of 3, you're drawing 6. It's pretty cool. So that's definitely one to have in thoughts. And I've also thrown in there Devoured Field, which doesn't really see a lot of play. The attacks of Dark and Dragon type Pokemon do 10 more damage. Now this is what I was on about earlier with Gyarados. If you do that the second attack, you're doing 200 with a choice band 230. Gyarados is 240. This would bump it up to 240, which is enough. to knock it out. So that's pretty cool. Might be a nice one to play. A nice dragon stadium. It's not like whoop-de-doo in terms of the damage that it increases. I mean, if it was like 20 or 30, I think maybe people would think, oh, yeah, I need to have a little think about this. But 10 is a bit like, okay, yeah, we'll just, nah, we don't want that. We don't want 10. But 10 can sometimes be the difference between knockout and 10 points off. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Plus the fact as well that it does say this: the attacks of Dark and Dragon would do 10 more. Now, bearing in mind, Zoroark is Dark and Salamence is Dragon. That might work. Might work. I'm not saying, obviously, with Righteous Beating it would do 120 with a full bench, 150 with a Choice Band, 160 with Devoured Field. That's higher than what most people normally do without having to put a Kiawe in the deck or anything like that. So it's pretty cool how you can do that. And having that trade ability is just really cool indeed. Very nice. So it might be interesting to have a little play around with that, see how it goes, see what sort of happens and everything. The thing is, like, we've had a look at all these Champion Road cards, and the thing is, I'm having ideas in my head and I want to try them out. Whether they'll be successful or not, I don't know. So if you guys want to hear about my different experiments, then by all means let me know in the comments below if you want to see some sort of like rogue deck that I'm going to just make and just be like, there you go, have a little go. Have a, you know, see how it is. But let me know if you fancy that. But anyway, moving on from that, let's get on to Guess the GX, the answer. So last time I gave you that little picture right there. I don't know whether that was a little bit simple. I don't know. There's not really a lot being given away, but I think the colours can distinguish that. It was, in fact, Xerneas GX. I think if I made the picture go right where all the multicoloured antlers were, I think you'd know exactly what that was, so there's no point doing that. But there we go. Xerneas GX was the Guess the GX answer. So moving on, let's have a look at the next Guess the GX. We have got this picture right there, this picture, and this picture. Yeah, what's that? So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this in Salamence GX, the sort of deck ideas. Do you think any of them could work? And also let me know your answer for Guess the GX. Apart from that, guys, I will see you guys in the next video on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below, comment down below like I've said, and rate the video as well so I know you're enjoying the series. Thank you very much for everyone who's been watching the Champion Road set of GXs. We'll be moving on now to the next part, which I think contains another 5 GXs. And then what I might do is just go back and have a little look at the full art trainers, because we've got quite a few full art trainers. Go through my thoughts on them, because we haven't discussed them in a lot of detail just yet. So I'll definitely go through that, check them out with you guys, and let you know my thoughts. But apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video on the channel.